all you wild ghouls and creatures of the night. It's your two favorite Chicago dads back here for Cinephellas. I am Logan Myers. That's my good mate over there.
And I'm Henry Hill. Welcome back for another Cinefellas movie review. Me and Uncle Logan are back talking with you all tonight. We're feeling loose, feeling good, and we've got a good one to talk about. It's a movie that hit cinemas recently, about a month back. This was actually made back in 2024. I think it hit a couple, festivals back then, but finally released this year on digital. Me and this guy had a chance to watch it. It's about four interconnected stories, and it's all set in 1987 Oakland. And if you can imagine that time, just think of like Ice Cube, Boys in the Hood era, and that'll put you where we're at with this story. And it stars Pedro Pascal and Ben Mendelsohn in Freaky
Freaky Tales.
Tales. These are the tales.
Stuff of legends.
What happened here? You fucked with the wrong warrior.
That's right, all you wild horror hounds. Your two least favorite uncles are back here talking more horror flicks and fun stuff like that. Flick came out 2024, Freaky Tales. You were telling me about this movie. I didn't know anything about it, but right from the get-go of the film, I fell in love with it fairly quickly, just the whole aesthetic, set design, music, the VHS kind of feel to it. Total throwback to the 1980s, of course, with a lot of great music and movies and people and etc. But these are four interconnected tales. The first one has to do with Gilman Street, true punk rock right here, back in the 1980s, Northern California punk bands. Operation Ivy was playing a gig in a hill about these punk kids and what's going on with their lives and these Nazis. It's always kind of the struggle between punks and Nazis. And it sets up the first tale. It's really cool hearing some old school Operation Ivy, seeing their depiction of Op Ivy back then, the whole vibe of Gilman Street and Oakland and everything. Really cool setup. Probably one of my favorite tales in this movie.
Yeah, me too. That was definitely one of my favorites. Gets you right from the start. I love the aesthetic, like you mentioned, just the feel of it, the old school way that they filmed this. The actors that they chose here looked authentic of that time. It felt like you were at a punk show in that beginning segment. Really cool. And I really loved how they did that with this movie. You had these interconnected tales, each telling their own story, but each of them, dealing with the same characters, whether they were just in the background, but all coming together by the end, with all the stories that they tell, these four tales, and all blending together by the end. And, blending all the genres together too. You had science fiction elements here, you had comedy, you had, all the nostalgia from the late 80s. You had like the rap battle story about the two girls that went and rap battled with Too Short there. Of course, Freaky Tales being one of Too Short's songs. It's where they got the name from. And then you had the final tale that brought in the basketball player behind you going into that. Yeah, from the Clippers, basically being a character akin to Blade, him going into this house and taking out all these Nazis, and just an awesome segment. That was probably my favorite one at the end, but really giving you gore and the more horror aspect of the horror genre from this movie, and just a really fun movie to watch. One to lay back and just really enjoy, and doesn't take itself too seriously. Gives you a blast from the past, and Pedro Pascal too is also in it, and he of course is killing it and everything else. And he shows up in this movie and does a great job. And you also see his character come in to contact with a legend of cinema in a cool cameo that I didn't see coming. I had no idea he was in it.
I'm like, no way. I'm like, okay,
I
how?
know.
How do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some surprise cameos in this movie for sure that I was definitely
Mhm.
not expecting. Of course, the Pedro Pascal tale was very interesting with Pedro playing kind of like this hitman of sorts. He retires from the business. Then something happens that basically goes back to when he was in his younger days and somebody he killed. So now he's kind of wants out of the business and, have a normal life. But it, of course, doesn't turn out that way. That was a pretty good one. Yeah, the Ben Mendelsohn one where he's the racist, and the second one where they had the rap battle. Unbelievable scene at the ice cream parlor. And of course, the last one was so much fun. Practical effects were so top notch in this movie. Blood, guts, gore, everything with the basketball player from the Clippers back when the Clippers and Lakers were playing playoffs back then. So they had all the radio broadcasts playing in the background and stuff. So had a lot thrown into this movie all into one, but it really worked for me. A lot of stuff, music and movies and people and everything else in this movie, they all kind of wrap it into one. And it doesn't feel like a mess either. I think it was really well crafted. It's great, much like Creepshow or Tales from the Hood or any of those sorts of movies. It's definitely a throwback to those days, and really appreciated this and wish I knew more about this before watching, but hey, I'm glad I watched it. One other thing I wanted to throw in here, Angus Cloud was his last performance before he passed away. Guy from Euphoria, Playboy. So it was cool seeing him in a little part in this movie, and farewell to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Missed that guy. And his final film, I didn't realize he was in it. And I saw him on screen. I was like, oh man, this would have had to been his last role. So R.I.P. Angus, of course. We're going to miss that guy. He was awesome, legendary. First seen him in Euphoria and watching his final film here. Worth mentioning here, the directors of this film, Anna Bowden and Ryan Fleck, they also directed Captain Marvel. So they've been involved in some they've also been directing a lot of shows, Billions, The Affair, Masters of the Air. They directed a couple of those episodes. So coming over here to direct this really unique genre blending film, a throwback film, if you will, gives you these cool stories all interconnected and all with the overriding theme and having to do with Uncle Too Short, and also awesome how he was the narrator of the movie too. So very cool. Freaky Tales, one of those wild B movies of old, bringing it here to 2025 with great results. We both had a really great time with this. All the segments were really good, particularly the one with Sleepy Floyd, the basketball player at the end. That was just awesome when he went in and just destroyed all the Nazi punks and Ben Mendelsohn. So with that being said, I am going to give Freaky Tales, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 Pedro Pascal hair pieces.
Yeah, this movie was a fun ride. The first and the fourth tale in this movie are probably my favorite. Started off with a bang, ended with a bang. The other two tales were good too, but those are my favorite for sure. Fourth one, the end of the movie, just ties up all the loose ends. All goes back to this fucking basketball player in this house, and everybody just gets fucking slaughtered. It was awesome time. Love the music in this, the whole vibe of it. Felt like back in the 1980s. Everything going on in the world at that time, pop culture, everything intertwined.
Ronald
Reagan, of course, punk rock, fuck Ronald Reagan, and all that stuff. I thought it was really cool. I will say Op Ivy didn't look anything like the band, but that's just a minor nitpick because I love that band. I'm like, it does not look like them. But hey, no, younger kids probably wouldn't even know anyways. But yeah, great time. This is going to be a cult classic for sure. 5-10 years from now, people are going to be watching, talking about this. So yeah, give it a shot. It's worth your time. It's a really fun movie if you're into old, 80s, music and horror movies and things like that. You'll have a great time with that. So that being said, I'm going to give Freaky Tales a 4 out of 5 Pedro Pascal hair pieces.
Pedro.
So I want to hear from all you wild ghouls out there. What did you like about Freaky Tales? What didn't you like about it? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to stab, subscribe. Also, check out these wild rascals on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV, movie news, and reviews.
Thank you for watching our review of the all-new film Freaky Tales. It's now streaming on digital, so go check this out. You guys will have a blast with this movie. And thank you so much for watching our review. And until the next Cinephellas movie review, I am Uncle Henry Pascal.
And I'm Uncle Too Short, signing out till the next movie review. Cheese!